In this video, I want to give you my most honest opinion and information that I think you need to know about carpet extractors as a detailer from a professional who has used a crazy amount of carpet extractors. Let's start with what you see me using in this video. Right now, I'm using the Mighty Light 8070 heated carpet extractor. The reason I show you this extractor is not because this is necessarily what I suggest you purchase, and I'll get to that in just a second. It is simply to say that I have a lot of experience using a ton of different extractors, including very professional grade extractors. Now, the first two extractors you're going to see in addition to the Mighty Light 8070 in this particular video is also going to be this really small extractor called the Bissell Spot Pro Clean. I want to explain why I show both of these and use both of these before I get to really what I suggest. Number one, the Mighty Light 8070 is what I'm going to pull out in situations like these to really try to get the most out of my efforts, right? I'm in an extreme scenario and I'm trying to reset the carpets. It's hot water, it's extremely powerful suction, and I love the way it kind of vaporizes the water. The Bissell Spot Pro here is something that I also have in my detailing business and pull out when I'm resetting floor mats like this, where you saw before I was pressure washing them. I already had cleaned them with enzyme cleaner with carpet shampoo, and I blast them with water. Now, all I need to do in this situation is not have some powerful extractor. I just need a small machine to pull the excess water out of the mat so that I can put the mat in the sun and it dries, and it's no big deal, right? You can't waterlog a floor mat and then sit it in the sun. It's not going to dry fast enough, and it's not going to dry with the fibers kind of going the direction I want them to go, and it's not a good idea. You got to pull the excess water out. So that's the Bissell Spot Pro Clean. Now, the reality is when you're extracting from a professional detailer, let me give you the things I notice as a pro when I'm using these, as you see me using both of these particular types of extractors. Number one, what I love about the Mighty Light 8070 is that it is a heated carpet extractor, and I do think there's something to be said about that. What I don't like about it is that even though it's an expensive machine, it's really, really big and it's really, really heavy, it's not got the most powerful suction out of any machine I've ever tried. And to be totally honest with you, my experience with expensive extractors is, unless you're willing to go up to $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, you don't notice under that price point a big difference in the suction. Obviously, the Bissell is just something I use for when I'm pulling out extra water, like I said. But what you see on screen right now is a close-up view of the Rip Clean Better Extractor Kit. This can be boiled down to nothing more than actually taking an extractor head like this, having the proper hose accommodation, and linking this up to a shop vac or to, in my case, a 4-gallon rigid vacuum. The reason why, quote unquote, making your own extractor and using something like the Rip Clean Better Extractor Kit here, where you actually get this particular hose, this particular extractor head, you also get the water line hose that hooks up to any water supply line like a hose line. The reason why I suggest this is what most detailers do is because, well, number one, it is much less expensive than doing it any other way, getting a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 extractor. Number two, the thing that I love about combining a vacuum like the 4-gallon rigid with an extractor kit like this is the fact that you get all of the suction of the vacuum itself. With extractors, like I said, when you're sitting in the $1,000 to $2,000 range, what ends up happening is they're trying to pack so much into kind of a single machine where it's got a water reservoir, so you don't have to have free-flowing water, right? You can just kind of fill it up, and it's got water containment. It's got a waste tank. It's got a heater. You're trying to combine all of these things, and so you can't necessarily do everything as good as one might want it to be. And so oftentimes, like I said, the suction power is kind of what gets a bit sacrificed until you go up into the $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 range. When you're using a rigid 4-gallon shop vac like this, you're getting all of the horsepower suction of that particular vacuum, okay? It's extremely, extremely powerful. Now, this second thing that I want to highlight here is probably the most important thing to me, and that is when I am using a vacuum, okay, all of the stuff I'm sucking up with this particular extractor head is going into my vacuum. My vacuum is just a waste tank in some ways, okay? Because of that, this particular head can suck up a bunch of debris, a bunch of crumbs, a bunch of waste that isn't just necessarily water and sort of chemical residue, and I'm not going to damage the quote-unquote machine or the vacuum whatsoever. The vacuum is made to literally pull up debris. And so if what I'm getting is a bunch of debris and stuff inside of my extractor head, at most, I'm just going to have to clean out my extractor head, right? But nothing else is going to go wrong. Nothing's going to get damaged. I can very easily clean out the hose by sucking up some water and soap and kind of use that method and then empty out my vacuum. My point is, one of the ways extractor companies or extractors that are more expensive will sort of increase suction power is they will make a thinner head. They'll make a thinner head where the air is pulling through and therefore pulling the suction out because, of course, as you thin that out, you're going to get more suction power. It's kind of like if you try to force water through a much smaller hose, you're going to get a higher water pressure, where if you force the same amount of water through a larger hose, you're going to get a lower water pressure. Well, what's amazing is that the Rip Clean Better Extractor head is very wide. It has a very open mouth on it. And the reason for that is because they don't need to thin out that mouth to increase the suction because you're attaching it to a vacuum that already is designed to basically optimize for suction in the first place. And so as a pro detailer, and that's the perspective I'm trying to give you, the pro detailer day to day, trying to get these jobs done very quickly, what ends up happening is I can just grab this and I don't have to worry if I've done all my dry vacuuming perfectly. And I'm going to suck all of this up and save time because I'm not having to worry about that. So not only am I getting more suction, not only is it less expensive, and not only is it way easier as a pro detailer to just very easily work with, but in addition to that, the things that you're sacrificing, like, for example, not having a contained water reservoir, is something that just has not mattered to me whatsoever. Whether I'm at my own shop or I'm at a customer's house and I hook up to their water for this particular part of the process, it just doesn't matter. And if you have a very long water hose attached to this, it's going to be very convenient. You don't have to be close to the water spigot or the output of the water flow in the first place. So this is why I think this is just an absolute no-brainer. Yes, you can build these on your own and you don't have to buy the Rip Clean Better Extractor kit. That being said, it's not really my style. Some of you probably might love to do that. I just want this done for me. It doesn't make any sense for me to try to find all the adapters, make sure they're all the right sizes, and then obviously, screw it up inevitably. I just buy the Extractor Rip Clean kit, and I think it's a genius invention. All that being said, guys, if you're interested, I will link this up in the YouTube description box below. If you want a full list of all the tools and products I use for interiors and exteriors day to day, check out the Pro Detailing Toolbox free resource below. And as always, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, thanks for watching. Remember, a great detailer is always learning, and I'll see you in the next video.